So today we're going to be looking at tipping culture because I think tipping culture has gone absolutely out of control. Obviously, it's something that's very prevalent in the US. I did go to the US last year and they literally want to tip for everything. Even if they do nothing, the tipping option is there. A lot of the time I click no tip and some of my American friends were very horrified that I clicked that. But in the UK, it's a little bit different. We're not always tipping for everything. It is an option. It is making its way over here very slowly but surely to add a tip for almost anything. We do have service charge though, which is basically an additional thing added on, which for most cases, most people are happy to pay it. You can ask for it to be taken off though. I found some TikToks today that are showing some absolutely insane cases of tipping culture and how it is absolutely out of control. Without further ado, we're gonna get into it. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below what you think of tipping culture or any other things you want me to cover. But without further ado, let's get into it.
If you're not going to tip when you go out to a restaurant, stay the fuck home. The excuses of I can't afford it or they should be paying their servers more aren't going to fly here. If you can't afford to tip properly, you do not need to be going out to dinner. And this is coming from someone who at one point could not afford to tip, so I stayed home. When you don't tip, you are literally taking money out of the pockets of those servers. And by going to restaurants that rely on this type of service, you are perpetuating the problem. You can't say you want them to be paid more and then go into a restaurant that people rely on tips for and not tip. You not giving...
The entitlement radiating from this is crazy work. Man said, if you can't afford, it just means you're broke. Just give her money. You must be broke. You can't go out to eat. Just stay at home. Oh, sorry, ma'am.
A tip is not going to make the owner pay the servers more. You saying I don't tip because servers should be...
Actually, I don't understand the law perfectly, but it might, because I think there's a certain wage they get paid and the tips make up for it. If you don't get enough tips, then they have to pay you the certain actual minimum wage or something. I'm not sure if that's how it works everywhere, but that might be how it works.
Paid more is just an excuse not to tip. And baby, if you're cheap, just say that. But going to a sit-down restaurant, knowing full well you're not going to tip, you should tell the server right up front. If you can be so bold as to not leave a tip or not leave an appropriate tip, you should be so bold to say it to their face. Tell them, you can serve me food, clean up after me, but I'm not going to tip you because I don't agree. You should...
I would. Like, I don't know why this is such a weird concept to some people. In some cases, right, and I think a lot of Europeans have this mindset. Tipping for great service, no people have a problem with that. And I've tipped in the past as well for certain service where I think it's great. But in some cases, if you're just bringing a plate of food to me and taking the plate away, what do you deserve a tip for? Like, what do you deserve a tip for? If you're not making the experience marginally better or a lot better, like, sure, maybe at some high-end restaurants where the service is that's good, you might want to leave a tip. But if they're just bringing me my food and doing nothing else, why do they deserve it?
Get bare bones service for that. Going out to eat is a luxury, not a necessity.
I agree that going out is a luxury, not a necessity, but I don't have any idea what that has to do with tipping. You know what I mean? It just makes everything way more expensive if you have to tip. And it's the entitlement that gets me with some people, because we'll see later in the video some of the percentages people expect to tip. Now, a 5%, a 10%, you know, that's normal. Maybe if it's great, maybe give 20%. In some cases, there's 50, 100% tip options. Are you crazy? Man said double my meal cost because you deserve some money. Brother, I'm not that nice still. I don't earn that much money to be giving it away to servers. Obviously, this video could easily be rage bait, and it might be, but some of the comments here were absolutely hilarious. And most of them were just saying, you know, tipping is not mandatory. And if employers can't afford to pay the staff, don't open a restaurant, which I think is pretty accurate. Because how come in every other country the staff get paid a normal wage, but in America they don't? Interesting. So now we're going to look at a TikTok where they have actually actively put a sticker over the no tip option to make an illusion that you have to tip and you have to add it. You know, if you have to do that, obviously the system is broken and you'd assume, you know, they need to find a way to fix it. But to me, that's just crazy. And yeah, let's have a look.
Shit restaurants are trying to play now. They are now covering up their no tip option on their credit card readers, ultimately forcing you to leave them a tip. And listen, man, I respect everyone working in the service industry, but come on. Tipping culture has gotten so insanely out of control. The number one rule that I have, and that everybody else should have too, is that if I'm standing, I am not tipping. I am paying you for a product, and within that product, your boss pays you to do your job, which is make that product. Like, let's say a coffee or a sandwich shop, for example. That is your job. You are getting paid to do that. Now, on the other hand, if you are doing something for me, if you are providing service for me, that is a different story. If you have to come over to my table and ask how I'm doing, how the food is, give me water, give me whatever, then I will tip you. But if I walk into a coffee shop and all I want is a nice coffee, I'm not tipping you. And now that I'm thinking about it, the only exception to the standing rule is if I'm in a bar. But of course, everyone knows the real reason why you tip in a bar. It's not for exceptional service, it's for service itself. But there's no way I can be alone on this, and this move here, that's total bullshit.
And I have to say, I kind of agree with his concept there, especially when it comes to fast food. Like, I remember I was going to fast food joints, and it's like, add a tip. Like, excuse me? Excuse me, mate? All you're doing is putting my food on the thing. Like, you're taking it from the bit and putting it on a tray and giving it to me. You're actually not doing anything. I'm not paying you to do your job. Like, when it comes to a sit-down restaurant or something, like I said, and you want to provide excellent service and you deserve extra, fair enough. And it depends, again, how long the service is. When it comes to fast food or stuff like that, or going to Starbucks or something where it's literally just handing me something, you literally have an interaction with me for less than 10 seconds. Do you deserve money for that? I don't think so. You deserve me to tip you for that? I don't think so. But when it comes down to a sit-down meal that could be a couple hours, or it's certain luxury experiences, like I've worked in some sports events where you could be waiting on people all day long. It could be, multiple hours. And in that setting, yes, you deserve a tip. And here we have a couple comments from this TikTok. There's one saying, I've seen tipping at self-checkout stations in grocery stores. It's stupid. I mean, in that, I don't even know. In that circumstance, are the companies trying to siphon the money for themselves? Are they giving it to the employees? I wonder how that works. Here we have another comment that says, this woman works in retail and the employees aren't actually the people that put the tip options there. I'm assuming it might be the managers or the owners, and that you could just do no tip if you want. And yeah, you can. I do agree that some people feel very pressured to tip. Like, just don't tip if you don't want to, it's not that deep. So next we're going to look at the insane percentages that are getting put on for a tip. I'm just going to let it speak for itself.
Just look at this madness from the United States of America. This is a tip that you can leave after your meal or your drinks, whatever it was. The only one that they say thank you on is a 100% tip. 30% is so-so, 30% tip. 40%'s okay. 50% of the bill is good. And 100%, so you go out for a meal that costs you $100, you're going to pay $200. That's the only one they say thank you. Holy shit! Has anybody seen this in real life? Oh, I ain't paying that.
I mean, I actually haven't seen that much. Usually it's about, I think it's like 10, 15, 20 is most of the options I've seen when I've gone out, or custom. They do try to hide the no tip option as hard as they can in these places. That is an insane amount. Imagine going out for some average food, because let's not forget that a lot of these restaurants are using bare bones, cheapest products, trying to make as much profit as possible. Like, even fast food joints now, the prices are so expensive to get a regular meal or something now. Most people would be struggling to afford that, or it would be a treat for them every now and then. Imagine trying to double your price on that. Insane behavior.
I absolutely hate tipping culture in America because it's everywhere for no reason. 90% of the time I tip in restaurants and sometimes delivery drivers, but why am I tipping you for
making me ice cream?
If I place my order and you turn around and press a single button to get my ice cream, come back, give it to me, and have the audacity to flip your
fuck-ass tablet around?
Would you like to
What the fuck?
Because what did you do to deserve a tip? You turned around, took 5
I mean, kind of just reiterating what we said. I think the worst one where this happened to me was in the airport. I went to go buy a bottle of water. The woman literally just flipped the tablet around. There was like tipping options. She didn't do anything. I picked up the water from the thing. I said this. She just scanned it, and then I tapped my card. Like, what? She didn't do anything. She didn't even really acknowledge me. She was talking to her friend the whole time that was working there. And it's crazy that in certain circumstances like that, people will expect to get a tip. Insane. So now let's have a look at this trend moving towards the UK, because we all know that most of the world culture gets set in the US and it kind of spreads, especially with US tourists. If you go to any places that are frequented by US tourists, I went to Greece, Athens recently. Every single restaurant was asking for a tip. It was crazy, and there was so many American tourists there, so I guess maybe that's why. But I didn't tip anywhere. Even though the food was amazing, the service wasn't the best in Greece. Should have done a review on that, but yeah, let's go.
I want to talk to you about the UK tipping culture and why we seem to be getting this US style over in the UK. Traditionally in the US, restaurateurs don't pay their waiters and waitresses very much, and they make a significant part of their wages up through tips. So I get it, like, understand, happy with that. That's your culture, you deal with it. But what's happening in the UK is that it's automatically on every bill now that I see. Like, tipping in the UK was for exemplary service, right? And I'm a butler, I'm a staff. Like,
I will say that's service charge. So it's essentially adding an extra 10-20% to your bill for service charge, which only happens in actual restaurants. Like, mainly sit down restaurants. I haven't seen it happen in like a KFC, for example, or like a fast food joint. It's always usually happening at sit down places. And what people don't know is you can actually ask to take that off. And the thing is, most people will never ask to take it off because it's so much hassle. And I guess that's why if they add it automatically, it's kind of the trick. Like, yo, most people, one, they might not even notice it, and two, they're not gonna like be a hassle or to go ask the guy, yo, can you take this off for me? Like, it feels a bit slimy, I guess.
I get it. Like, I get the tips, but I want it to stop because it is insane. I went to a coffee shop the other day, like self-service, takeaway, right? When I went to pay for it, there was a tip button on there. I was like, you haven't done anything for a tip. Like, what the hell? Like, you barely even smiled when I came in, to be quite honest with you. So one of the things that the US way of tipping does actually upskills and creates a better hospitality environment because servers work for their tips, right? It's like, it's not expected.
I do agree with that. It's kind of a bell curve of service. Like, if you're going to tip more, tipping creates an incentive to give better service, right? So if you want to try your best and you never get any tips, right, then it's going to feel a bit disheartening. So people might just give the worst bare bones service and just hope to get anything, right? And some people may tip, some people won't. So yeah, I will say, like, I have worked in some of these hospitality roles where, you know, I worked at like some horse racing and stuff where you're in a box with people all day long from, you know, could be 10, 11 in the morning all the way to 6 to 7 p.m. at night. And it's meant to be more of a luxury experience, right? I can say when you roll with certain people who to get into these places, you need to have a decent amount of money too, by the way, if you're booking these experiences. You know how disheartening it can be not to get a tip in those circumstances, bro? Like, I feel like a lot of people do go. I was one of those people who go there hoping for a tip because it makes an okay payday into a very good payday if you get a decent tip. But I do understand what you're saying.
Whereas in the UK, now it's just on every bill that you get, you've got to either ask to take off the surcharge or whatever, and as a passive aggressive Englishman, it's very difficult for me to say, would you mind taking this off the bill, please? Especially when the server's there going, you know, oh, tip, please, sir. You know, or were you not happy with the service? I'm happy with the service. It's good service. You've done a great job, but it's not exemplary service. And that's what UK tipping was all about. It upskilled the workforce. Like, nobody needs to try anymore. Nobody needs to bother. The restaurateurs are making more money than ever. Are they really? And are the servers actually getting the tips? You pay for it by card?
I don't know how that works. I'm sure there's a way that the servers are probably getting the tips, or it would be pretty unethical. I think it just gets added to their paycheck every month. In terms of the exemplary service thing, I will say that it's kind of been an expectation to get tips anyway in the UK for a while. Not on like everything. Like the US, everyone thinks they deserve a tip, right? Like when it comes to like the coffee shops to that. We never had that. It was mainly the sit down restaurants and stuff where tips are a thing, you know what I mean? And it was always like, you know, you pay £50 for a meal, you get £5 change, you leave them the £5 type deal. So you go Pizza Hut or something, you just leave them the extra £5, right? You know what I mean? It wasn't like you just slap bare money for them at the end, you know, unless it was top tier. Like if you want to give them a decent tip, it's because they were top tier. It's not that only people that got tip were top tier people. That's just my...
Got to stop it. We got to stop this US style way of doing things.
I just don't think we will, because inherently we're leading towards trying to make as much money as possible. Everyone wants to make as much money as they possibly can, and when it comes to the restaurant business, it's probably one of the hardest businesses to be in, just because the competition is crazy. I think something like 90% of restaurants fail, so the margins aren't always the best. So anyway, these men can make the margins better for themselves, they're going to do it, whether that's trying to scam people, trying to get extra tips, trying to decrease the quality while upping the price. I mean, we've seen it everywhere, almost from top restaurants to even fast food. Now, fast food used to be meant to be a cheap sort of alternative. Nowadays, fast food is like at prices that are insane. I'm gonna have to make a video on that because, mate, the prices in places like KFC are insane. Even McDonald's prices, like, you could go to McDonald's and get a burger for 99p, you know, and feel okay with that. You know, you could get 5 burgers for 99p. It's not the best diet, is it? But like, you're going to feel satiated. Nowadays, the burger's like, well, 139 or something. Is like, fucking hell, mate. Absolute rip-off. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think about tipping culture in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.